not here to compete, Africa's richest man Dangote says to state-owned oil company NNPCL. During a courtesy visit to the new GCEO of NNPCL, Mr. Bolarinwa, at the NNPC Towers in Abuja last week, the president and CEO of Dangote Group, Mr. Aliko Dangote, emphasized the importance of collaboration between the two organizations, noting that they are not competitors but partners in driving Nigeria's energy transition agenda. The refinery's founder also countered assertions by fuel marketers suggesting that the refinery cannot satisfy domestic fuel demand. He alleges that certain powerful groups, including major marketers and traders, are working against the success of the $20 billion facility. Joining us in discussing the disruption the refinery is bringing to other players in the market and the need to drive collaboration are oil and gas professionals and analysts. Bolarinwa, Durojaiye, it's great to have you in. And of course,
thank you, John.
Yes, and of course,
thanks for having me.
All right, it's a pleasure to have you in. And we also have Gbolahan Olojede joining us now as well for the conversation. It's great to have you in.
Yeah, nice to be here.
Yes, a pleasure. Let's begin with you, Mr. Olojede. Dangote and NNPCL, they are not in competition. That's what's being said. What would you say perhaps necessitated the need to clarify on that? Were there any pointers that gave the impression or suggested that these two entities were in competition? And how is that even possible considering the roles that they play in the sector?
Well, apparently it is a political statement. You know, maybe with the aim of getting on the right side of NNP of the fight. That was why Mr. Dangote put that statement across. Apparently, the relationship has not been particularly smooth, and there are elements, very glaring elements of competition. My favorite reference to whether there is a problem or not with the relationship was when sometimes in, I believe in July, at the end of July, sometimes around that time, when the head of the regulatory agency came out and said that Dangote Refinery was only 55% complete and that he was only rolling out very dirty fuel. The interesting thing is that just about 6 weeks after that same statement, the same NNPC lined up his own tankers to go and get fuel from a 45% completed refinery that was producing bad fuel. So it shows that there were issues between these two entities, Dangote Refineries and NNPC, and it is not good for the system as a whole. So I'm hoping that maybe by virtue of the change in leadership at the NNPCL, we could find better ways to collaborate and not compete unhealthily like it appears we have been doing over the past few months.
Right. And we know the group CEO of the refinery, Dangote himself, has stated that. So coming to you now, Bolarinwa, we know that there has been quite some resistance to the refinery's entrance into the market. In fact, Dangote responded to claims that the refinery could not satisfy local demands, and he alleged that certain powerful groups, including marketers, traders, they're working against the success of the facility. And it makes us wonder just how much of a disruptor Dangote Refinery has been to the existing system and perhaps even the current system.
Thanks, John. The first thing I'll say, and thanks for your contribution, Gbolahan, is that competition is not a bad thing. And sometimes it's important for us to kind of zoom out of this conversation and ask, bigger questions. There's nothing wrong with competition. Like Gbolahan said, Olojede Dangote was merely saying the politically correct things to essentially calm the situation, considering all of the rancor that has happened, which we've all been witness to. But more broadly speaking, there's absolutely nothing wrong with competition. Also, in reality, when you think about it, Dangote is a large-scale refiner, and the NNPC, as long as it maintains ownership of the refineries, and if they are actually in operation and producing refined product, in this case PMS, they're supplying the same market. So in effect, they are in competition, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So it's good for us to have these more nuanced conversations and not necessarily align ourselves with the rhetoric.
All right, so there's nothing from what you're
that's
saying
going on.
Yeah, from what
with regard to
go ahead.
with regard to the question of the Dangote Refinery being able to satisfy local demand, I mean, it's an enduring question, really. When we look at the maximum output capacity of the Dangote Refinery and what is reported as Nigeria's daily consumption now, you will see very clearly that at capacity, Dangote Refinery can actually meet local demand. It's an engineering question and a data question. It's not a political question. But sometimes in these conversations, you know, we say what we need to say to support whatever interests are in play.
Indeed. And I think the highlight there is that there's nothing wrong with competition. I'm coming now back to you, Gbolahan. What would be the ideal? You've highlighted the fact that, you know, there was that rift between the two entities. But what would you say would be the ideal relationship between Dangote Refinery and NNPCL? And where can we find some sort of mutually beneficial relationship that will provide a commercial advantage for Nigeria?
Well, there are several dimensions to that, and one of the dimensions is the reality that we don't want a monopoly. So there must be elements of competition in the system, and NNPC or NNPCL, which is the business part of it, has a role to play in that issue of preventing monopoly. However, handling monopoly issues should not could be taken in from different perspectives as well. Monopoly could be from, you know, ensuring that there is importation to compete with local prices. But breaking monopoly could also be to encourage more producers within the country. So there is Mr. Abua in court, who I learned has taken a refinery license as well. There are refineries, there's Walter Smith, there is Aradel, there are several other refineries within the system that will also contribute to the pool. Sometimes ago, which is also part of areas where I think NNPCL need to improve. We heard about the fact that Port Harcourt Refinery started to produce. That would have helped tremendously to also deal with issues of monopoly. At some point, even Warri was announced, only for us to hear later that the Warri revamp has failed. I don't know if Port Harcourt is still going strong or if it has also, gone down on the capacity that we were able to recover before. My emphasis or my wish or my desire from a policy perspective would be that we drive competition that are within, that involve people who will be producing from within Nigeria. That has implications for being able to produce refined products more than we can consume in Nigeria, export the excess and earn foreign exchange, as opposed to the reverse. When you are importing, you spend the foreign exchange you have earned importing refined product. So drive competition, no doubt about that, but drive it from within. Manufacturers that are in-house and can produce the refined product that we need.
Yes.
And ensure that the regulatory space, there's always a very blurry area when you have an institution like NNPC, which has NNPCL, an operator, and also as the regulators on the other side. But I hope that as things evolve, we will be able to get more distinct and separate the role of regulator, which is very, very important,
right,
from that one which is a business. The regulators will also regulate That's his own business, which is still within the fold as it were today.
All right, so drive the competition within is what I hear. Coming down to you, Bolarinwa, we know that there's a new era, there's a new board. What would you say this signals for the refinery, for the sector-wide? Do you see, anything new on the horizon, or as some say, a new board, new cabals, new administration, new cabals? Is that what you perceive being the situation here?
Personally, I am positive, and I think that at least at the initial stage, that would be what one would describe the general sentiment to be. The new board is constituted by, well-known names, respected professionals from the industry. It gives the sense, of an organic constitution, people who know their onions, who have been in the industry, who have all of the institutional knowledge and history of the evolution of the Nigerian oil and gas industry. So it's a good signal generally. You get the sense that this is a leadership that knows what they're doing. However, as we all know, leadership is not just about technical competence or technical knowledge. And navigating, the waters, I will call it murky waters of Nigerian politics, and in this case, the Nigerian energy landscape in particular, is not an easy task. Case in point, we saw the senior executive on a clip recently essentially telling us that he's from the northern part of the country. And those who know what is going on can see why he's doing that. Does that have anything to do with the technical task at hand or the things that we need to accomplish? Not particularly. Does it have to do with leadership and clearing roadblocks so that he can get his work done? Absolutely. So it's not an easy task. But generally speaking, I would say that the net outlook or the net sentiment regarding the constitution of this new board is positive. It's hopeful, and we wait and see.
Right. I mean, indeed, wait and see. I'm coming back to you, Gbolahan. Do you also share in, this optimism? Do you have some confidence in this new leadership, especially considering the enormity of the task at hand and the mess, perhaps, they have met on ground?
Fantastic team we have. Very, very fantastic. But you see, any day, culture will eat strategy for breakfast without thinking twice. And that is where we have to be very cautious. System is typically stronger than individuals. However, where there is leadership consciousness and support for that level of leadership from the political environment, if you have all the right level of support, and the leadership itself, is the kind of one we have right now, then they can achieve a lot because they can dictate the tune for every other person in that organization to dance to. And it is either you shape him or you ship out. If they are able to do that, that would be lovely. They have the capacity, and I want to believe that they will go in that direction. However, they must always be conscious of that reality that any day, culture, the system, would typically eat strategy for breakfast without blinking. It is a very strong assignment that they have been given. They will be confronting extremes of opposition, both systemic, political, and all sorts. And they must be ready for that. Right. And I'm hoping that the people who have put them in that saddle will also back them up when they need the support.
All right, indeed. Beyond strategy, there does need to be a culture reset in the system. Our time is fast spent. I do appreciate both of you gentlemen coming through. Bolarinwa Durojaiye, oil and gas analyst, and Gbolahan Olojede, oil and gas analyst as well. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
A pleasure.